Good dog!
Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
That's right. You are officially older than me for a few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean you're a cougar?
Do we have to go there?
I don't know,
I mean, does it make you feel better or worse? You choose.
Probably better.
Okay.
Yeah, probably better. I don't know what the age discrepancy should be on that, statistically wise, but I don't know.
Well, you're the first younger guy I've ever been with, so I must like that the best.
Yeah. I'll take that as a compliment.
That is.
But man, we're off the rails quick here. I feel like we should probably pull out the Bible and start reading or something to even things out. But
I think we're okay.
Yeah.
We're good yet.
Yeah. New week.
New year.
New year. Back at it.
Multiple ways.
Yeah. We're going to keep rolling with this. Episode 3 now. This one will be put out in a few weeks probably.
Yeah, we're a little ahead of the game, but I like it that way.
Yeah, I think it's important to just have some kind of in the bank. Like I said, I'm actually leaving in probably 2 days. Mm-hmm. Probably hit the road Thursday to get down there. But yeah, then it just kind of eases the burden to, especially on me, to get these up and going, because we're not doing anything too fancy. It's not overly produced. Like, we're literally sitting in our living room.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not doing anything crazy with the edits and just putting up some consistent content with it, and just kind of see where it takes us.
We've gotten some feedback already.
Yeah, so tell me about it.
It's just, I don't know. It was just nice to realize that people that I don't even know saw my podcast or saw our podcast and knew me. And I went to the gym yesterday and ladies like, oh my gosh, we loved your podcast. And I was like, thank you. I'm like, I don't know who you are. What's your name? And of course I ended up I know who she is.
Connected the dots.
Yeah, but being in a small town, I had a conversation with a client yesterday. It's I think formal introductions just don't happen in small towns. Everyone just kind of knows everyone, and there's never I'm Brittany. You just kind of expect that everyone knows you. And even yesterday, it was kind of that situation. And I was I wanted to do a formal introduction. Yeah, I'm Brittany, but I'm she knows you. Mm-hmm. But again, I feel a lot goes into that, actually introducing yourself and just being personable. But so yeah, that was really cool. That was the first one in person, and of course everyone around is you have a podcast, I'm like, yes, we just started it. And then a lot of Facebook messages, a lot of shares, a lot of Instagram shares. It's been a lot of fun. I had a lot of people from my old job reach out. I had people from high school reach out, and it was just really nice to see that people are finding us and finding interest in it. Mm-hmm. The one person that messaged me from high school, she said, I am not into hunting at all, but I loved listening and I'm going to continue to listen. Mm-hmm. I was like, well, thank you. It's interesting to see the paths that we go down after school and how we wind up finding each other again. And that's always interesting.
Yeah. And I mean, it was kind of a shot in the dark to start this. We've been wanting to for a while, and we've had some encouragement to do so from some really close friends and guys that I know, and but it's also we've kind of been the type to, I don't know how to say it, but be a little bit just quiet
on the back burner,
because there is that quote unquote small town mentality.
Yeah.
And you don't for me, I've never been one to be like, I
But
want to be better than everybody kind of a thing.
I'm
And
no, that's not what it's about. But I understand where you're coming from. But I think there are a lot more people like us than we realize.
hmm
Like, look at the couple from yesterday that said she saw us at the gym. Like, they have a business in the outdoors.
hmm
Like, they're together running a, I don't know if it's necessarily a guide or if it's just like a apparel.
hmm
I'm sorry, I should know that. But, but, they're into the outdoors too. Grant messaged me. He's big into the outdoors. Like, there's a lot of people that are like us.
hmm Yeah, yeah, we've had some really good conversations with people that, on that front locally. And yeah, and it generally is always hunting and fishing. So, which I think that's, you know, the the meat and potatoes of this is probably going to be more so that. And but I feel like with us being a couple and growing and changing and evolving and like if it just point blank like just being raw and real and figuring out life, through ups and downs of business and relationships and being parents and being friends and family and everything. And even in the outdoors and experiences we've had there, like we've learned a lot. We've done a lot. We're constantly trying new things and doing new things, and we make plenty of mistakes. And
Yeah.
we've damn near been stranded in a marsh to you know,
Oh boy.
probably concussions with you getting me into snowboarding. But
Oh,
I mean, we've been all over the board. I
I
mean,
forgot about that.
how many, you know, even musky fishing, something new. I mean, we've had some people that have kind of helped us out and shared some insight and stuff that way. But
Yeah.
that was something completely new to us a few years
And oh
ago.
my gosh, I feel like we are still pretty clueless when it comes to that, but we're figuring it out. We put some fish in the boat, but man, they're a different fish for sure.
Yeah, and like looking back, how many opportunities we've probably screwed up, and
Oh
we've got
yeah.
boat fish at the boat, and it just like the wheels fall off. What the hell are we doing? And then
Yeah, and then, we're musky fishing hard for weeks on end, and then you hear that somebody catches one on like a bobber and a worm, and I'm like, what the? How
hmm
does this happen?
hmm
I am trying everything.
hmm
But I think there's a whole thing to it. I think it's, you know, every species probably has its thing. Like, deer and finding the right wind, and the ducks and finding the right weather, and the fish and finding the right pressure. And I think it's just one of those things that we have to figure out because obviously there's a lot of people that have it figured out.
hmm hmm
It's not easy, but to just have that.
No, and we do spread ourselves. I mean, we always start out the fishing year after walleye, and then we kind of
Yeah, we're all over the map, so we don't. Is that what you're trying to say?
yeah, we don't like just hone in on one particular thing. Or you see like people like okay, it's ice fishing right now. You get your people that are like, I just want to go catch walleye,
Yeah.
and then you get people, who love to just hole hop and chasing bluegill and crappie.
Yeah.
And then you get the guys that they just want to be on the ice. They have their shack and they hardly move it but two or three times. They're on one lake the entire season.
Whatever comes by, comes by.
We're gonna go hang out, throw back a few beers, just relax and
Yep.
just be out. And so everybody's got their own way, which is, and they're all equally just as fun, just as enjoyable.
Yeah.
It might not be our cup of tea, but
Right.
who cares?
That brings me to another point of like spreading ourselves thin. When it comes to ducks and deer, I mentioned in a different podcast that I'd like to duck hunt in the morning, deer hunt in the afternoon. Am I going to be successful if I half-ass this deer hunting thing? Like, I'm legitimately maybe hunting half of the time that I quote unquote should be.
So that's the joy I think nowadays of
Or
running
how many
running trail cameras.
True. How
I
many
think.
opportunities do we have to kill ducks in the afternoon and we just don't go?
Yeah, I mean, it's always weather dependent. I think later in the year will favor longer sits or even go out later afternoons. We've had a few
So I can,
instances where we've had some good afternoon hunts,
yeah.
but typically early in the year when we're pushing, I mean, like obviously teal season is always warm, but we had temps into the 70s and if not low 80s several times throughout duck season, and it's just like, what are we doing? You're getting eaten alive by mosquitoes. You're out there sweating. You're whatever, It is what it is. It's part of the game. But then ducks are just not moving. We don't get anything, and then there's always that mid-season lull. It's like, what the hell are we doing? We're out here and we barely get a duck. We're lucky if we get two or three. We get two or three chances right at early light, and if you screw up or you shoot like crap, you're upset and feel like you wasted your time. I mean, how many times did I go out by myself just because I had technically had the opportunity,
Yeah.
like I had the time, knowing I was just probably pushing some stuff off. I mean, it's not like I had some like heavy obligations, things that I needed to get done. I had things on my plate, but there are multiple times this past year of
Yeah.
going out by myself and then I'm just pissed off. And then it's like I get about time to pack up and it's 9:30, 10 o'clock and birds start moving.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well now I have to sit. And I finally get off the lake or wherever I was at 1 in the afternoon.
Yeah, now your day's shot.
And it's like, okay, well, I'm, trying to take my health seriously. Last year I was, and want to get to the gym and take care of that. And it's like, your day's about shot. And
Yeah.
and it's nice to be able to do something and have that opportunity,
Yeah.
knowing that I can obviously working at the office, just at home here and editing and doing that stuff. And I have that just to do, like, I'll go home, I'll get a few hours in, I'll spend time with you guys. And like when everybody goes to sleep, I can get back down there and do more. And I'll have time to catch up. And it's also one of those things too, I think I touched on it earlier, of just being fortunate that we do have duck season, or that I'm from Wisconsin. And now we have our duck season up here, that it is early in the year.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Because like if I was in middle America, where it's duck season right now and it's hot and heavy everywhere and it's prime hunting where you really want to hunt, you're Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, Missouri, like really chasing birds and having a good time. And I don't feel like I would enjoy my season. Because I'd probably be running and gunning and getting a phone call, I got to go here, or like my schedule's full, and like when am I going to have the opportunity? So, and I had that mentality up here too. I mean, of course I had work, I had, there was a lot of traveling and, but it was just a day or two at a time. Sometimes if I was actually leaving or it was local work, to where what didn't take away, too much of our season. And then to be fortunate to be able to, do some stuff here for some companies, and they just sent product and, to, have some income based off of that. So I think I mentioned that earlier, but just like surreal to know that kind of where we started with duck hunting and now I'm only, honestly, at the time of like getting some of that work, like consistently doing this for 7-8 months and getting some companies on board. They're like, hey, we'll pay you. We'll give you some product. Shoot some content for us.
Yeah. It's been really fun to watch.
So it's just, baby steps. Like I'm excited to where that goes. And it's a, the backhand of our season up here is it's just duck season still going, and trying to produce duck hunting content for companies is just like damn near impossible.
Yeah.
So there's nothing I can really do there. So it's like they kind of it just inevitably falls off, and we'll get into trade show season. We'll kind of pick back up with them. But, there might be some opportunities with me going down south now. I'll see what the weather is. I'll bring some stuff with. Maybe I can find some public areas I can just go jump in the water quick and do some stuff. But
grab the cooler, grab the animator, grab whatever we need.
But yeah, it's just another year for you.
Yeah.
So tell me some just plans, like what do you want this next year to look like for you?
I feel like I'm just going to, so the last episode when you asked me what my goals are, it was outdoor focused, and that is true. But listening to it back, I have so many more goals than that. Like, I want to continue to push to be a better wife. I want to continue to push to be a better mom. I want to continue going to therapy and working on myself. Like, there's a lot of internal, personal, like, goals that I have, and not specific goals, but more so just like continue to grow, continue to sharpen my mind and stay strong and all the things, and manage your emotions and just the normal woman crap, I think.
Yeah, but I don't know. It takes a lot of.
Like, I've been in therapy for over a year now, and I have no intentions of stopping. Like, I think I found my lifelong. I found my soulmate therapist. And she's helped a lot. And it's, if anyone's had successful therapy or counselor, it's You know, usually they ask you the obvious questions that you never ask yourself. And you're like, I had to go into therapy to like think about it like this. It's so interesting, but I'm so proud of how far I've come with that. And I think just continuing to be authentic in myself and manage my emotions and be a better wife and be a better mom and just continue to push on all the personal fronts too is never going to go away. I think that's something that we're always going to raise the bar on, and I have a big focus on that right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, money comes and goes.
Mhm.
Like, trust us.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 1 minute, you're overwhelmed by what, like feeling like you have a million decisions that you could make and you should make, and then all of a sudden, the complete opposite of, how can we save money? What expenses do we need to cut? How can I make more money?
Mhm.
We have bills to pay, all the things, and it's just part of life.
Yeah.
And you kind of got to roll with the punches with some of that stuff and just keep your head down and keep grinding. But with you and yourself, like if you're sharp and you're focused and you're committed to just being the best person you can be, I feel like everything else just kind of flows
Yeah.
so much easier. Where
Oh yeah.
if your head is chaos,
Mm.
it's like everything else is chaos.
Yeah.
If you're, it's been kind of a foundation of my life for a very long time, but just mental and physical health.
Yeah.
And it comes and goes too.
Mhm.
I've went through some pretty dark seasons of,
Mhm.
being overweight, and then you get depressed because you look at yourself in the mirror finally, and it's like, dude, what the hell have you been doing for the last year?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
get your shit together, and you have to sometimes look at yourself in the mirror and have them pep talks,
Yeah.
and that's a hard thing to do, and I commend you for the path that you've gone down and the direction that you're going and the growth that I've seen. I mean, hell, in the last 6 months even.
Yeah. I've looked at I've looked at a lot of parts of myself that I never wanted to. And I think that that is the ultimate step. Like
Hmm.
if you can actually step back and look at yourself and see like, oh shit.
Hmm.
I see it now. I can see it from that perspective. I can see it from that angle. You know, no one wants to look inward.
Hmm.
There's so many people that'll walk past that mirror for the rest of their lives.
Hmm.
They'll never look inward, but I think that's what therapy has truly helped me with is seeing myself, looking at myself and realizing that that's not the person that I want to be, and I know the person that I want to be, and I just have to do it.
Hmm.
That brought me to like the mental clarity thing that you just brought up of like taking care of yourself mentally, and it kind of goes back to you asking me what this year looks like, but getting back in the gym and keeping my mind sharp because yes, the gym does wonders for me physically and so does the kitchen, but it does more for me mentally. And business has been so busy that I've found that as an excuse to not take care of myself. And I always find excuses as to why I can't or why I shouldn't.
Hmm.
That's something that I really want to get strong with this year is just like discipline and dedication. And no, you said you were going to do this. We're going to do this, whether you feel like you should be doing that right now or not. Like,
Yeah, we brushed upon it, I think, in the first episode, I believe. Just that self accountability.
self accountability. And then another thing that I thought you were going to say intentional focus
Hmm.
because that's something that I didn't really realize that I need to do too. Like you said you were going to the gym at 2 today, go to the gym.
Hmm.
Don't
If you got
don't
a half hour, you
find
got a half hour.
something else. Yeah, don't find a time crunch. Just go.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
know you'll feel better afterwards.
Yeah, we're super fortunate, honestly, like on that front, to have the community center there,
Yeah.
because we do have options. Like, is it the greatest gym in the world? No, just as far as like free weights
But I could find
and
that as an
lifting.
excuse and not
Oh,
go.
of course. But what I'm getting to is you have the track,
Yeah.
you have the
The
turf,
gym.
you have the gym. I mean, hell, you have the pool.
Mm-hmm.
So there's so many other avenues and opportunities just because it's not the norm for us as far as like lifting goes.
Mm-hmm.
Like just another thing to grow and spread your wings a little bit in of just like grab a kettlebell and get on the turf.
Mm-hmm.
Do some, more, whatever high intensity training. and just get your heart rate up, even if you have 20 minutes.
I know.
Like if you bust your ass enough, like, and you're doing it right, you'll be drenched in sweat in 10.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's just getting out there and doing something, and I think there's something also just having the right people in your corner.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to, and that's something that we're still working on and growing into, is being able to depend on one another to hold each other accountable to a certain
Yeah.
degree as well.
Mm-hmm.
Without it coming off, that's something we've struggled with, especially coming from me, of it being too critical and too harsh and too, too like, you
I
should
used to
be.
take such offense to it. And I know you're like, I just want you to feel good. I just want you to feel better. I want all the things. But
And I
I
think,
was like, what do you mean? Like, he just asked me if I was going to the gym. I have 40 minutes. Like, that's not enough time for me to get there, put my frickin' shoes on, and lift. But it is.
mm-hmm.
It is. But that was hard for a long time, is you trying to push me into the gym because you saw how good it was for me.
Yeah, and I think that's just, to be honest, it's probably something that I wouldn't be surprised if there'll be some feedback on saying some of these things, because I think you're coming from the woman perspective and I'm coming from the guy's perspective. And I think it's very relatable that when you're in a marriage, you're in a relationship, you're, a healthy, growing couple and stuff, like people still go through them learning and growing phases.
Mm-hmm.
Which to me is like just a testament of what kind of a relationship we have, because it's not stagnant. We're continuously
No.
growing. We're still learning each other. We're still, we're 10 years into this, and it's like we still don't have it all figured out.
No.
But then it's also like, I know the majority of men, husbands, boyfriends, fiancés, whatever, saying certain things to their significant other is coming from like a genuine and good-hearted place.
Yeah, seeing
It's
the
just
good
how
intention.
we have to say it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a big thing of just understanding your women, knowing how to, approach
What
and.
motivates her?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Is it you saying like, "Are you going to the gym today?"
And that used to be me.
That's not it.
And you're
That's
like, what the fuck? Like, I feel
yes.
like I've been doing good, or.
I've been at the gym.
And in
Like I
my.
ate good today.
Yeah, and in my mind, it was just like, oh, I need to, like, just asking a question, just a reminder, like, what are you doing today? You know what I mean? Kind of a thing. And I'm like coming at it from like such a severe angle of like jumping off a cliff and landing in your lap. Like, hey, going to the gym today? Like, not even fun, not even like exciting. And it's like, so it's taken a lot. And sometimes just coming from a good place within it. And for you, it's like, sometimes I just need to be encouraging in a positive manner, but also just like help out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, if I know your intention is to want to eat better, like, take the reins and make better food.
Yeah.
If I make it and it's sitting there and it's ready and it's something really good and healthy, and we have extras for meal prep and we have everything going that way, like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You don't, there is no excuse for you.
Right.
And like, if you tell me that you're going to the gym, like, I'll give you a friendly reminder. I'll make sure you have some extra clothes. Like, you know what I
I
mean? Hey,
think.
like, can I meet you there? Like, I have
Yeah.
some time. Like, what time are you going to work out? I can meet you there.
Yeah.
And like, be encouraging that, like, oh, we could get a lift in together and
Yeah.
spend some time together throughout the day, which we don't do that often.
No, I love when we go to the gym together during the day. It's
Mm-hmm.
always so nice. But my biggest stressor, and I'm sure, all the women that work out can relate to this, Avery.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I've been working all day. It's 3:30. I should go to the gym, but by the time I go to the gym and get Avery, it's going to be 4:30, 5 o'clock. I'm not going to get home till 6, blah, blah, blah. That's usually my, I don't know if you want to say excuse, but reasoning behind, like, it's just not going to work out today. So for a long time, when in the summer, the best opportunity for me to work out, and I figured this out, mornings were hard because in the morning, I should stay home and make Avery breakfast. Oh, I should stay home and get this done and then I'll go. And I always found a reason to not be able to work out in the morning. I shouldn't have to get her up this early. Like, the roads are bad. Whatever my excuse was, the mornings were hard. Afternoons, well, I got to get Avery from daycare. She's been at daycare all day. What if she didn't nap? I got to get her home to eat, all the things. So, like, mornings and afternoons were really hard. And for a long time,
You
11:30 to 1,
you blocked out the middle.
I blocked out my
Because
lunch hour.
Well, you knew you had clients before and you had clients after.
So I had to be there, and I had to go back.
Mm-hmm.
because I guarantee you if I only booked clients in the morning and I was supposed to work out at 1,
But
I'd
this,
find I'd find a reason.
but this goes back.
Family is
Yep.
so important and such a priority to me, and getting home, especially if you're home, you understand. I understand that now from your perspective, because when you were in the woods, you're like, oh, it's 5 o'clock. I just got done working. I'm supposed to go to the gym for an hour. Like, I got to get home to my family. And I finally understand that. I just want to get home to you guys so bad and spend time with you guys. But I'm really looking forward to being able to block that lunch hour for me now and get back to the gym in the middle of the day. And I felt so good doing that too.
Yeah, and there's an obligation on my shoulders too to, I'm kind of in that what's next growing phase, trying to get more clients, new clients, more work, and and that's something I need to step into and work my ass off to be able to do that, so that there's, consistent income coming in no matter what, because I know that's a stress we have now. You're looking at, if I take time off, the money that I'm losing.
Yeah, right
And then you
now,
multiply
that's
that by how
very,
many times a week, and then by a month, and then you're sitting there looking at it. It's like, oh, that's a lot of money. Like we probably can't do that right now.
yeah, like I've literally said in my head, I can't afford to work out right now. Like
Which
and
is,
then that brings me to the, I need to just suck it up and do it in the evening when I don't have clients anyway.
yeah, and that's a hard thing for me because it's like I like being the person I am. Like it's, having a family. It's the biggest goal to be the biggest provider. And I touched on it before of just like this last little bit has been such a grind, and and I feel like, to be honest, doing this has been a godsend in a sense too, because you're speaking things into existence,
I know.
and it's not just to you, because like up until like the last year of our lives, really, like I could say things to you, but I knew you weren't gonna like reciprocate it or like hold me accountable in a sense. So again, it's like feeding and allowing them excuses to creep in, and feeling like now it's like we're putting it out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, and I touched on like that intentional focus and feeling like I need to get a website done and doing all these things. And it's like,
I think you did
I've
it.
been, in a sense, not like very strict and regimented. I'm kind of just like figuring out kind of what works for me, but like taking that time to edit, taking that time to network, taking that time to, rebuild my website, taking that time to like learn something new and something different, and trying to build connections. And I feel like things are starting to click now. Yesterday was yesterday wasn't bad at all. Maybe it was the day before. Again, like I found myself in the gym and my mind is just not there. And then it was like being able to be conscious of that in a moment. And be like, hey, like
Oh yeah, I struggled with
get
that
out of your
too.
head, put your phone down, set some timers, like, to be honest, like I signed up for like a training app again, which is actually like really, really good, because it's actually C-Bum's app, and I know exercises, I know what to lift, I know like how to work out how hard and stuff, but it's having that timer and like a set. I don't need to think about what exercises, because there's been times where I'm like, okay, you walk around and that machine's taken, all the seats are taken, the dumbbells you want to use are taken, like somebody's running that side of the rack, like it's like, okay, I just don't want to be, be in the way kind of a thing, and having like here's what I'm doing today. You know what I mean? Like it's already broken down. I don't need to think about it. Here's the exercises, and like I'll just go through it and like, okay, somebody's using that machine, but what's an alternative?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like just ripping with it.
Yeah,
Just,
that's really nice.
being strict, and it's like there's a timer on there. You rip through the exercise, when you're done, you hit it. There's the rest period. There's the beeper when the timer's going off. Like you rip into the next one. There's supersets. There's low rest periods, there's more rest periods, there's, progressive training, so that like week to week you're trying, you're pushing for a little bit more weight. And
Yeah, I think you'll really like that. It might help you stay focused.
it definitely has. And the big thing for me is to be honest, just like closing out all my apps, putting music on. Like I never realized, like in the past, like I just pound music and just go ham, and never really realized like what that did for me. And now like finding that groove again, and actually like getting back into listening to music. And I don't know, there's obviously something about that hard rock and
Yeah,
metal and
I
some
was
rap
gonna
every now and
say
then that like really gets
even
me going.
me, like I'm not a huge hard rock person, but the music I listen to makes a huge difference. I can't turn on country and work out. It just doesn't work.
Just jump right back into it.
Yeah.
We got it. I eventually need a new camera.
It's okay.
I have really nice equipment, but for some whatever reason, they just limit your recording to like 30 minutes at a time. So trying to film this is something that we thought was super important, and
It is, and I've got a lot of feedback on that, so we have to keep recording. We will keep recording, but everyone's like, "Oh, it's so nice that we can watch it."
yeah, and it's like I said early on, it's nothing fancy. We're literally recording in our living room, and I want to redo the office and have a really good looking backdrop and kind of that studio space, but
I
it's
like our backdrop.
oh no, we can definitely hang some ducks and stuff up and do that kind of stuff. But it's like, okay, I got to soundproof. I have to put a door on the office because there's not a door on it, and because the only option we have would probably be a sliding door, and then I'd feel like, okay, let's put sliding doors on all of them,
Yeah.
so that everything matches down there, and it's just like more things to the plate. Like again, circling back, like throwing the excuses out and just sit down and do it.
Yeah.
Just get it done. Like,
Yeah,
what are
we've
your
been
excuses?
talking about doing that for years.
So I literally bought, what is this, like a $200 table and chairs off of Amazon. It's pretty nice and cool. I got some decent lighting that I've had. I could use a better main light, but again, just doing it, you could do it with
That's
the bare
all
minimum.
things that you see behind the scenes. Like I don't think anyone else really thinks about that stuff.
No, it's just the pickiness in me and the industry that I'm in now, and like seeing the weird shadows and stuff that can be casted. And
Yeah, but I was really surprised by how good this looks on camera because
well, I have a really good camera.
outside of the camera, I'm like, why do we have this big ass light and all the lights, but it looks so good on camera.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into the technical side of things maybe
I
at some
saw
point.
all the shadowing and things like that, and it's like none of that is casted on the camera.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, we can get into the technical side of things. I mean, if people are really interested in that, I mean, I'd love to talk about it, but I feel like it's boring to most.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, unless they're in your line of work.
Yeah, and
Sure.
I mean, heck, just reach out. I mean, I'm no professional by any means with a camera yet.
Good
But-
catch.
It's just even the people I know that have been doing it forever, like there's still room to grow, and there's new things, and there's always new gadgets coming out, and cameras are consistently being updated, and there's,
Yeah.
everything. It's just no different than buying a vehicle nowadays. There's a ton of brands out there. There's a ton of models.
They're all nice.
Yeah.
Take your
So,
pick.
but to kind of jump back to where we were, and
Yeah. Woo.
to probably wrap this up somewhat soon, we're gonna do a shorter episode, I think here.
We'll see.
Yeah, it's hard to stop.
Sometimes we get long-winded.
I've been really shocked by that. I'm like, we're
How-
gonna do half hour, 45 minutes, and I think that's probably
I
like
think
our
they're
limit.
all over an hour.
And we're forcing ourselves to stop at like an hour 15. Well, our kid is forcing us to stop. The
Yeah.
last couple.
Yeah. I didn't
So-
even think about stopping until she, was saying, Mom,
So it's
I'm awake.
which is fun and exciting.
I've had a lot of people tell me that Avery has to come on. I'm serious. I'm not the only one that thought that. Another thing, on that, sorry, ADD brain, having Avery on, a client told me yesterday that we need to mic her up when we're hunting and fishing. And I was like, why did we not think of that?
Well, I should have some decent audio of some things.
But just have her talking as like the ducks are working and the fish, like when we were ice fishing, was that yesterday, 2 days ago? And just the little things that she's saying. And I'm like, why did we not think to mic up that little girl? You see those little girls mic'd up that are snowboarding and stuff too, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, that stuff's fun and funny, and it makes for some cool content, and obviously you like recording and remembering the memories. But to me, there's a fine line of being able to disconnect from work
I know.
and just sit and enjoy my time with you guys. And I do, like, in the back of my mind, it's just like document everything, but it's like, and I've kind of stepped into the idea of like, I don't really want to be just a content creator for like
No.
other people. And I'm not really that big into doing it for myself. I mean, part of me really does want to do some like vlogs with the channel, just record some stuff that we're doing, like if we're
Yeah.
going on a hunting trip. And I think it'd be a cool and fun way to show off like what we're doing actually behind the scenes. And also like stretch my wings and
I wonder if people would be interested in that. Like kind of seeing our day-to-day stuff.
I'm sure there is, but it's just like you're never gonna please them all, and like
True.
y-
Don't want to get
even
too
doing
off
this, I
track.
know like you were kind of skeptical of like, is anybody gonna listen, and like what are we doing? And I think you even said it in the first one of like, why do we have to have such big goals? And let's like just see what.
That's just fear talking.
Of course, and it's with
Like uncertainty.
and it's with anything, you know. And there's an element of like when you want to start something new, hoping and praying that you just like almost have that immediate success, and it never comes that way,
No, and it shouldn't.
you know. And I think that's important right there. Is it shouldn't, because then you don't enjoy it.
No.
You don't enjoy the ride.
There's
You
not a
haven't-
lot of people that grind for a long time and become successful. There's people that grind for a very short period of time and get discouraged.
Yep, and
I
then,
was one of them for a very long time.
yeah, and then they just it stops and it comes to wayside. I mean, even like the whole podcast world, like there's millions and millions and like hundreds of millions of podcasts, but like only it's like a staggering percentage, like 4 or 5% of them have more than like 5 episodes.
No way.
And then like you cut that in half after like 40 episodes. You know what I mean? So there's like to do 50, 60, 100 episodes, like you're an extreme outlier. Like you're in that 1%, 0.01%, like who knows where you're at. So it's just one of those things to just being consistent,
thing-
but also
yeah.
like we're not really doing it but for anything other than just me and you to sit down and actually have a conversation.
I think it's been so good.
It's been great for us already.
Yeah.
To just know,
I feel
mean,
so much
yes,
more-
we've been really ripping these out and we've done a few here in like the last week, but to where it's going to kind of taper off. But then I'm also like excited, and like when I'm headed back home, like we have so much we can catch up on, and we can
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about things, and like
I
we're going to
feel
have
like-
conversations, but
We're busy enough all throughout the year that we'll always have something to discuss, even if it's just a recap on our weekend. But yeah, we're going to have a lot to talk about. I'm excited.
yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be a blast. It is a blast already.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's I don't know. It's just another element that we can add, and I think there's speaks to something of speaking things into an existence, and knowing now that like I'm not just telling you, and even if I was doing it for myself and nobody was listening,
It's done a lot for me too. Just like we're on episode 3, but
yeah, it's like slowly roll. A little
hey,
bit here.
calm down.
Yeah.
But just realizing the support that we do have that I didn't even realize was there. That's been really fun to see.
Yeah, and
It's made me feel good.
you continue to pray and hope that that continues to evolve, and and I'd kind of touched on it before. Like I'd love that at some point and down the road that we can give back in certain ways and do some fun
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
with this and get some people involved, and we've
I look forward to guests.
yeah, I guess it'll be really fun. I think we'll hold off on that for a while.
Yes.
Because there's going to probably become some lulls within, what we're doing too, that it'd be like a perfect opportunity to do that. And then it'll just to have friends on and to, have other people on that like we align with, and it'd be like I said, to have some photography buddies on and some hunting buddies and some hopefully we can get some people within the industry on, and just kind of see where it goes. And I think there'd also be some cool opportunities. I'm hoping that we can be the curious mind of having people on that maybe necessarily we don't really know, but they're from a certain industry, a certain perspective, a certain, you know what I mean? And just like, hey, come on and tell us about your world.
Yeah.
Like, I'm super curious and I'm going to bombard you with a ton of questions, but let's talk.
Yeah, that'd be really fun.
Because those are honestly, like, for me, like, when I listen to Rogan and stuff, there's a lot of podcasts out there like that the interesting ones are you're learning something.
Oh, yeah.
It's a world that you've never considered
Educational.
or like you've never put any thought into or anything that way, and holy man, like that's super interesting.
Yeah.
That's super cool. And
Modern Wisdom is my favorite one for that.
yeah, Chris is
So educational. He
and from
always has a different perspective, and
I don't know if anybody else has listened to that podcast, but like Modern Wisdom with Chris
highly
Williamson
recommend.
is top tier, phenomenal. And especially with
So
me,
good.
kind of like a camera geek, like if you want to watch it on YouTube, like the cinematics of it are absolutely phenomenal. Like he spends an assload of money to just set up a set and travels typically to his guests and like rents out warehouses. And like he had one, I remember he rented out an old wood shop, and they light it up and they set it up and they have their key lights and they have their background lights
It's
and
so cool.
they
So
have
much
their
goes into it.
cinematic lighting, the blues and oranges, and it's just super cool, and the multiple camera angles. And but then you can also see, so like he's a really good one, like he's really only been doing it for a few years, and kind of knowing his background, even though he's completely different world, like a literal party boy to one of the most successful podcasts in the world.
I didn't even know he was a party boy.
He was he's very like upfront and open about that he was like a nightclub manager.
Oh, wow.
So he was up every single night promoting nightclubs and running and gunning, and then he was on like season 1 of Love Island or something.
What?
And then
my
like
gosh.
because he's a kind of a draw dropping figure, like he had a little bit of a modeling career and stuff,
Yeah,
and
he
then
does look good.
kind of stepped into that space. And I don't even like his reasoning behind it wasn't anything but to like just expand his mind and work on his vocabulary and just like basic rudimentary things. And then he began to take it so seriously, like he got a speech coach and he talking lessons. And then it just kind of grew and evolved, and like his subscriber bases blew up, and it's allowed him some cool opportunities to do some really cool things. And of course that's like next level, that's way up there. And but you never really know. It's just it's again though, like you can look at some of them big time public figures, like the majority of them and a lot of people that people look up to, they just started.
Yeah.
They literally just, you know what, sick of it, like I'm going to start something, and then look at where they're at now.
Create the life you want to live. I had someone reach out to me yesterday about like, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to, this is not the life I want. And we talked all night long about creating the life that you want to live and how that's all going to look. And it's going to be really hard, but you have to do it. If you're not happy where you're at, move forward.
Well, and we're in this weird, to me, I feel like we're in this weird transition period within society of the majority of our parents, whatever they decided to do, you're going to stick it out. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is what I chose, and this is what I'm going to do. Whether it's a 9 to 5, whether, like...
Well, I think the
like
change
me,
was scary.
Yeah, but it was just like that never quit, don't fail, like keep going, like, just, and I get it, just that hard knock, keep your head down, grind.
And you have some of that, which I'm thankful for.
Oh, to me, I feel like that is a pretty solid, pat myself on the back, like a pretty solid green flag that I do carry. That, I'm to have that determination and to continue to grind and that focus to not want to fail. And it's a scary thing and I think that's where things are changing, is like, I don't really, and it's taken a while because I went through that period of like my early 20s, like I have a logging business and I'm making money and look at me, you know what I mean? And it's like this, that I started to, like, my ego started to inflate, and it took a bit for me to like check that and reel that back in.
Yeah, you hit it well, and then I saw you put yourself in check.
And I think that's important, and especially like I was super fortunate to be at the age that I was to be able to do that, because there is something about like just the way a person carries themselves and that, but I saw it with my dad. It was a very, very, very tough life, and the majority of, I think, our generation, our parents probably align with that.
Yeah.
They just grind and they just grind. And when you tell them to try to do something different and open your perspective a little bit and like spread your wings, like, look at this opportunity, you could maybe go do this. Like, what do you think?
So
No,
close-minded.
that ain't for me. That ain't for me. And it's,
Yeah.
I get it, and it's scary, especially when you're later in life.
Yeah, I think the older we get, the more we'll be like, eh.
And maybe that's what we remember too, because it's like, okay, I don't remember my parents when they were in their 20s.
Mm-mm.
You know what I mean? I don't really remember them. So I mean, like, who knows, like, right now, like, in Avery's shoes, like, who knows where we'll be in 10 years when she can really start to remember things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, I'm sure there's a bit of a bias to that of, like, when you actually start to develop and hold on to those memories, like, you know. But I don't know, it is interesting, and
I think we're in the generation that change is becoming, like creating the life you want to live is becoming much more common.
but I think it's because
There's
there is so many opportunities now.
there are, and there's the knowledge that like people can see very clearly through, I don't want to say social media, but businesses and all of the things that you can do something more. You can. You don't have to
There's so many avenues to make
stay
money nowadays.
closed-minded and yeah.
I mean, on that front, but just the opportunities that are being presented, I think, are there. Like, if you want to quit your job, like, you can go find one tomorrow.
Sure.
You truly can.
Yeah.
Where 50 years ago, could you?
I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like,
truly
could
don't think
you, if you quit a factory job, like, where were you going to the next factory? Because that's probably the only life you knew. And, like, were they in the position to want to, expand their skill set? Like, I don't know, like, was college a big thing? Was, like, I don't know.
I
mean,
don't think
it
so.
was, but, like, it took a certain type of family and a certain type of person to be able to afford it, too. And, I mean, you look at it now when it's like, you know what I mean, the price increase and everything that way. But, again, I think it's just, there's just...
But you can create so much life without a college education. And people are starting to realize that. And it's not on, I'm not talking like the lazy front of like, I don't want to go to college. I don't want to do that. That's too hard. That's ridiculous. That's too much money. I'm saying like people see the small businesses that are being created from just your heart.
Yeah, I think there's a definite trend into kids wanting to get back into the trades, which is great.
Yes.
The shorter term colleges, and I think a lot of it's coming from the idea of like the amount of money that they could make.
Yeah.
I mean, like the plumbers and the electricians and the carpenters, and you know what I mean? Like, you can make some damn good money doing that.
Yeah.
And there was that generational gap of like, not a lot of people doing it. Not a lot of people going in to get certified and going to school for it, where like the majority of the electricians and plumbers and stuff around here, like they're in their later years.
Yeah.
When I think with the right person, I don't know, there's also that of like, I feel like a lot of kids, like they weigh their options.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do I want to go work hard, or do I want to, be an influencer?
Yeah.
Like, of course, I'd love to be an influencer. And it's like, I don't know. I
Just
get it
be
to
authentic.
a certain, yeah, I get it to a certain degree, but it's a slippery slope, and continue to evolve and kind of see where life takes you. But
Look at how many people that are going to these big colleges, going for 8 years, getting the whole thing, and that's not what they wanted to do. Are you serious? Like, I'm not judging them. It's just like that was me talking about the education system. Is like people are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then they're 2 years into their career and they're like, this isn't it.
yeah,
Like
they
they're
didn't expect to.
they're just kind of expected to go to school and get a big degree. And I have a very good friend that's been a nurse, and she's like, I don't want this. She's like, I went to school, became a nurse, did all the things. She doesn't want to be a nurse.
Yeah, because
She's
I
getting
think,
out of it, and she's like, now what?
well, and
The possibilities are endless.
Yeah, and I think that's an industry as a whole. That's kind of like
Yeah, the medical.
You look at the movies and all that stuff, but then you also look at from like the kindness in your heart of just wanting to help people. And then I think you get there and you start, again, it's just like everything else. You start to get to see the back end stuff. You start to see the politics of it. You start to see the financial side of things. You start to see and especially with the medical industry, the pharmaceutical
I
stuff.
think we can all agree that it's a disaster.
And I think it can really take the wind out of your sails.
It does. That's exactly what's happening in my opinion, is just seeing that back end stuff and how horrible that is. And That will have you walking out the door really quick.
And like those are the industries though that like school's gonna be around forever. Like
Oh
you're gonna
yeah.
have to go to a lengthy
There
school to
there
be a
always
doctor
needs to be
and a
doctors.
nurse and a teacher and a dentist and there's all of those, the medical and teaching and like to understand a lot of that side of stuff. But and it's just like I went to school for a year and the path I was on at the time, like I loved it. I had huge goals and dreams, like the criminal justice field of, you know, and maybe it was a theatrical side of things of
Yeah.
being a fan of a lot of different things, but like wanting to, be a part of, a drug enforcement or the FBI or, something high level and high up. And then you get into school and you get some of them professors who are ex-cops and stuff, and they're like, you're going to have to grind for that. Like, if you don't graduate in the top 2 or 3% of your class here, like,
It's not
you're
happening
gonna have to
for
work
you.
your way up the ladder. And he's like, news to you, you might start in a prison system.
Yeah.
He's like, that might be the only job that's available for you.
You're
Kept
like,
stepping out of
wait a
here.
minute, that's not what I'm here for.
And then you start hearing them stories of like the prison guards getting, literally getting shit thrown at them.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? Like, I don't, like, I know you can make good money and stuff doing that, but like,
Yeah.
I'm not,
I don't think it's great.
I don't want to bear that kind of weight.
No.
And it takes a special kind of person to want to do that. And there's plenty of them out there.
Yeah.
There is a lot
There's
of prison guards and jail officers and, dealing with that kind of stuff. And they can make some good money and the benefits. But then again, it's, maybe just a transition period or whatever it is. But, you pursue what you want to pursue. And
Yeah.
we're fortunate to be able to do what we're doing. And, to step into woods has kind of provided me an opportunity to step into something else. And it's surreal. And a big part of me, has to understand that it was also a failure in a sense. Which is something hard to look at. It's like, yeah, I had plenty of successes, but like if,
we got to get that word out of your mouth.
well,
I don't
think
like that word.
I think it just,
You're not a failure. It wasn't a failure. It was just a stepping stone. That was just a part of your life.
yeah, but it's come with so much. It's like, you know what I mean? I'm a year out of it. I'm still dealing with the consequences of
Oh,
it.
yeah.
I'm still dealing with trying to figure things out and, navigating and moving away from a lot of that stuff and, trying to not let it impact my future and,
Yeah.
because it was extreme. And so it's like, yes, I was able to get out of it, which is huge. Yes, I did reach some successes and hit some milestones, and we did good, and you know what I mean. It provided a way of life for us and stuff. But and I do feel like I probably, in a sense, I don't know if I touched on it in the first one or not, but feeling like I disappointed Dad. But then, like just the weird coincidences of, finding that film camera and
Yeah.
knowing the stuff that he did and
No, he's proud of
how
you.
into it he was. Like maybe this has been my calling the
If he
entire
was
time.
here, he might be telling you, good. Glad you got out of it.
Yeah.
You know,
I could see that too because towards the end there he just got sick of it and
Yeah.
then
There was
he
no
he was
hope for the
fortunate.
industry. I mean, I don't remember the exact words that he said, but like it's going nowhere. Like he was pretty negative about the industry as a whole. So I don't think he blames you at all.
Yeah,
And I want
do.
you to work on seeing like your success with it. Like you were really successful and just stop there.
Yeah.
Because you're really quick to say like, yeah, it was successful, but I failed. Like just be happy that that was a part of your life. You learned a lot. We learned a lot. It gave us some big opportunities and I'm so proud of you. Like without you doing that, we would never have the life that we're living now.
Yeah. There's 100%. There's definitely an element to that.
So yeah, I think there's an element where sure, if you want to squint your eyes just right and tilt your head, you can see it as a failure, but don't do that. Try not to.
Yeah, and I think to be honest, like stepping out of that has welcomed so much more into my life.
So much more opportunity and connection and
Yeah, I was gonna say not even the opportunities. Like I've just been able to just live life. I feel like finally.
that was not a life
It's a hard.
that would have been enjoyable. Like
it's
it's such a grind.
it's a hard life. Like I appreciated the grind. I fell in love with the grind.
Oh, I know.
You know what I mean?
You
Like
worked a lot.
which is something that'll always carry over into whatever I do. But it was just you're working out in the elements, and it's like, yeah, I had nice equipment, but then when you break down and you're in below zero temps and you're trying to work on heavy equipment, which is, steel and metal and tin and
Yeah.
everything that way, and it's like you can't work on anything with gloves, so you're freezing and you're jumping in and out of a truck, and it's just like, you know what I mean? I definitely don't miss working in the winter outside. When things went good and there was no breakdowns and markets were good and everything that way, like you'd
Yeah, winters were great,
make
but
a killing in the winter because you didn't have to worry about weather. Like, yeah, you had snow, whatever.
I think just realizing that everything is a stepping stone. You can take a lot away from your business and what we learned in our
Well, even the failures that I did find and have and stuff, like you got to learn something
it's
from
a
it.
lesson for sure.
So there's still a positive to come out of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So even the way you can come out of a failure can be a major success. And I think it's having the understanding that you're going to fail in life and not allowing those failures to, define who you are and what you are. Like there's many, many, many people out there. They're the richest people in the world have all had failed businesses, have all filed bankruptcy, have
Yeah.
all been up and over their years in debt. And there's been people out there that one business fails and they're back down in the dumps and they're living at their parents or they're damn near homeless and they say piss on it one last time. I got $100 in the bank. I'm going to go all in again. And they finally find, their success.
Find their thing. Yep.
So it's just that idea of just never give up and keep pushing, and I know we kind of got on that tangent last time too, but I don't know. It's just,
I don't know what the future holds, but that's so exciting.
yeah. And there's an element of not knowing what it holds that's exciting, but then there's also an element that like I want to create.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want to do whatever
For
it takes
sure.
to get that. And you know what I mean? Like not taking no for an answer, doing like the sky's the limit. Like let's keep pushing. Let's,
Yeah.
keep putting our heads to the grindstone and keep going. And, we do have that opportunity, which we're super fortunate about.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just going to try to circle back to the outdoor industry. We got a little life focused on this one. Tell me more in depth, because I know we've talked about it a little bit, but tell me more in depth about one or two or three of your favorite hunts from this last year or experiences. It can be fishing, it can be anything. What are three things this last year that stood out to you?
Obviously, Avery's hunt. The limit with Avery was something like that we'll equally cherish forever. Like her first big hunt. I mean, it wasn't her first hunt, but like getting her up early. Like we got her up at like 3:30, 4 o'clock that morning, and she was so excited. Like
There was no grunting
there
and
was
I don't
no
want to get up.
fuss.
There was no crying.
Like she was wide-eyed, bushy tail, like raring to go, and knowing her probably didn't go to sleep until 9:30. You know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
she was rolling on, 5-6 hours of sleep just like we were, and she was
What are
having it.
some things that you remember about that hunt? I feel like, rightfully so, we kind of key in on different things. Like things that I remember, you may not, and things that you remember, I might not.
I feel like we're probably just gonna end up only talking about this one.
I have a
No, I
couple
know.
too.
I mean, yeah, of course, there's more like getting down to Arkansas and my upland trip that I just did was really fun and like it's work related stuff. I mean, I had a lot of cool fishing experiences too, but it just like she didn't even sleep on the ride. She was so excited and so willing.
No, I mean,
The ride out, she was excited. I mean, I think I got some footage. Well, I'll have to go through that whole day of footage because I have a lot from that day. The setting up, she helped you and I'm out in the water doing it and putting,
yeah,
brushing
she
in the
helped me brush
blind.
in. She told me where your calls go and where my calls go, and this is where her calls go, and Willow sits right here. Like, she was so involved. She wasn't just, like, sitting there.
And she loves Willow.
It's so funny. She wants to run her so bad. Like, she wants
She
to
does.
send
We'll
her
have
on a
to.
retrieve.
I know it's cold and crappy out, but if we get a little bit of a warm spell, we should get out. We need to get back to trying to get out and do some more training.
It's so funny. She'll go set an orange bumper in the front yard, and she'll go, back.
Yep.
so
Yeah.
fun to watch. But yeah, she thinks she's a little dog trainer, but she had a Drake Mallard laid out on our cooler and she was feeding it. I'm pretty sure it was pine needles. Said it was hungry and then was wiping the blood away because it was sick. And just like,
I mean, how many? There were multiple times. Because we would tell her, if we start calling, like, we got ducks.
yeah, and if mama and daddy grab our gun, make sure you cover your ears. And she
Mm-hmm.
had headphones, but
Yeah, trying to keep those on her was a
yeah,
challenge. But, I mean, yeah, we said, like, if we start calling, like, because, like, we tried to keep her aware because obviously the blind is. There's times where the blind is honestly a little bit too high for you. So,
for
like,
me. Yeah, I mean,
for
she's
her
just
to.
hiding behind it.
So for her to even, like, see into the decoys and stuff was pretty tough.
But we made sure that we brought her out for the retrieves. She
Mm-hmm.
watched Willow go get everything. She was saying good girl as she was coming
But
back. I
there
mean,
were there were multiple times, like I can recount, I think 3 instances where she saw ducks and we did not.
mm-hmm,
And like she's fully responsible for us killing some ducks
mm-hmm,
because without her seeing them, like we
mm-mm.
probably wouldn't have saw them because they were kind of behind us and like straight up above us and like running a tree line and if we're not, that's the hard part really about just me and you hunting and specifically a solo hunt is like there's so much room that you have to watch
Mm-hmm.
and you're constantly scanning,
Yep.
and so that honestly having that extra pair of eyes, even though they were her, like really helped and it paid
Yeah.
off and it was like
And
such a
watching,
such of a, like I'm proud of you moment and like you're only 3 years old and like you're a natural kid.
mm-hmm,
Like you're gonna be in this, you're gonna do this, and I hope you love it for the rest of your life,
mm-hmm.
kind of a thing. I hope she like follows in your footsteps with it.
I hope so. I mean,
Um,
she already is, but just continuing
but yeah,
on.
I mean, we shot well, and like every time we shot, did you get him? Did you get him? And like grabbing, and then Willow. I remember there was one volley there. I think we put like 4 or 5 ducks in the water. And we had a couple of them. I think it was a gadwall that sailed. And
Yes.
some of the dog handling that you had with Willow was really good, and how well Willow was that day, and especially bringing Willow's best friend out.
Oh, I know.
I
What
was
a
like, what is Willow gonna do?
yeah. No, she was zoned in.
And she was phenomenal this
But
year.
then she's kissing on Avery when
Oh, for
Avery's by
sure,
her.
for
So
sure.
I think it was a nice change for Avery and Willow. Willow was able to work hard, but then also have her baby there.
Yeah, and I think Willow's another topic. Like we will have several podcasts probably talking about her.
Yeah. Haven't really touched on the dogs at all, but
We will.
yeah,
But that
Avery,
was by far my favorite, without question. Oh, speak of the devil. I hope this doesn't start to be a trend.
I think
But
it's going to be.
so, because I'm sure it's like radiating through, and like the last one we sat for like, I don't know if it was like 10 minutes, and she's just yelling in the background. We're not bad parents.
Yeah, we promise she's fine. She's probably playing in her room just telling me she's awake.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, obviously that's the one that stands out the most. But another thing that really stands out a lot to me is when me and Willow went down to Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
Got in the car and took off and went and shot pheasants and did a big dog training thing and hung out with friends and rode around in side by side shooting coyotes and raccoons and oh, it was just that was a lot of fun. That was a nice trip. Going over by my girls was a really nice trip.
Yeah, you did that a few times.
We did
this
some
year.
pheasant hunting. Went to Minnesota horse and hunt. That was a lot of fun.
We need to get there for a Cosmic Clays. I know they
Yeah,
have
they
one
got
in Wausau
Cosmic
now,
Clays.
but it'd be nice to go over with those
Yeah,
guys.
horse and hunt is really nice.
Well, just to hang out with the friends and
Yeah.
reconnect and just chit chat life and stuff
I
and
know.
have some good food and a couple drinks and just hang out would be really, really fun.
I know. On the whole birthday note, I'm like, gosh, I wish we lived closer.
Yeah. It'd be nice to go out and have a nice dinner or something with them.
Yeah, but that's okay. We'll get there eventually.
Yeah, and that's like another, to circle back, like to me stepping out of the woods, like that would have never even have been an option to think about moving with that. So,
Nope.
but yeah, I don't know.
We'll see what happens.
it was a season to remember.
Yes.
So we got Avery out a bunch, and
We'll
I'm
never forget that.
excited for her to be out more. And I think it'd be nice to get her in tune with Willow a little bit more. Maybe she can actually run her out in the field. It'd be
Oh,
really
I'm
cool.
sure.
Get some retrieves under her.
Except when she says Willow's name or says back, Willow goes, Mom?
Yeah, is that okay? I do have, so on that note, we're going to wrap it up really quick, but I do have one really good memory. It was a solo hunt. I got a limit. Was a few mallards, a couple of green wing, and I think some ringnecks and stuff. But we had some ice that day, and it was just me. I was way in the back there, and it was Willow's first time ever like knowing that water could freeze.
Oh.
And she jumped in and like the shoreline because I had some decoys and stuff there. But as soon as she got out, she like encountered like just some skim ice, and she like, uh-oh, like, you know what I mean? And she was so driven and determined, and she wanted to suck back into me, and I stopped her with the whistle, and I gave her a back, and she went back to the ice, and she spun and looked at me again, and I'm like, no, I'm like, back,
Good
back, and
girl.
she jumped up and landed, and she realized she could break to the ice, and I like, Willow needs a cheerleader.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, good girl, good girl, good girl, good girl, and like you sound like you're being ridiculous, but it like amps her up, and she's like, I know I'm doing good, I know I'm
I'm
doing
doing
good.
it right.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
She
And
has that mind.
jumped on top, it bounced and broke through that ice and got a big, beautiful mallard. And then she later in the hunt, ended up being able to do it again, but like with little hesitation. Like just
Good.
seeing that progression so quickly with her and her first big
If
girl
she's
season.
unsure, she needs a good girl.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime that dog is
Encouragement.
unsure, good girl. And then
Yep.
she's like, okay, I'm fine.
Yep. She definitely needs some encouragement, and I don't know, a lot of people do.
Yeah.
So
Like me.
yeah, so another one over an hour.
All right. That's all right.
Kid yelling.
We're okay.
No, I'm completely
Yeah.
fine with it. But
It was nice. Thanks for setting this one up this morning.
yeah. Yeah.
Dogs are barking, kids awake. All right.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Hope you have a good day.
Yeah.
And
Thanks.
we will catch up after Arkansas and have a bunch to talk about.
I don't know when this will be released, but we'll see you guys soon.
Sounds good.
Okay. Love you.
Love you.